Herzlich willkommen, meine Damen und Herren. Wir sind Contact Lost, der polnische Podcast über Warhammer 40.000 und heute werden wir über die deutsche Nationalmannschaft sprechen. Um mir damit zu helfen, gebe ich euch den Statistik Papa, Nathan Henning von StatCheck. Hallo Nathan.
Guten Abend, mein Freund. I don't know.
Fantastisch, wirklich fantastisch. Okay, I think we can stop this now. So we're Contact Lost. I think you figured that out. I have Nathan with me. I am your host, Tweak, or Tomek, as you can see on the screen. And today we're talking about the national team of Germany. We finally came to that point where we speak to, I think, Poland's biggest rival right now, our neighbor, Germany, and to talk about the team, their preparation, and everything around it, and also to answer some weird bird questions. As always, I give you the captain of the team, Dominik.
Hi guys, nice. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Glad to be here. And your German is way better than my Polish. That's for sure.
I studied German actually, so it's a little bit rusty, but you know,
that's good.
I thought I would give it a try. So
yeah, it was pretty much on spot. The last time I spoke Polish was like on a tournament in the UK, and they just taught me to say kurwa after every sentence.
Yeah, that's essentially the Polish trademark. So you got that nailed. Right. How are you guys? How are you, Nathan? By the way, we cannot see you. For the people who are watching this on YouTube, can you explain to us what is going on with your vision, perhaps, or with your video?
I don't really know what's going on with the video anymore. It's just like glitchy and terrible. But also, you used all of my German knowledge in that opening. Hi is basically the extent of my German knowledge, which is funny because I have visited Germany on more than one occasion.
Yeah, it actually breaks my heart because I was hoping to have you on camera and to see your facial expression when I greet you in German, but yeah, didn't work.
It froze politely instead. I just froze politely in place.
Yeah, I have the imagination, so at least that. All right, Dominik, not to waste your precious time, let's get down to the questioning. And I guess the first question that I have to ask, the first question that many people who know the German team, many people who have played against the German team last year, might be asking is what happened to the previous captain and how did you become the new captain of the team?
It's a very good question. So effectively, last year we had Lim as a captain. Lim has done a massive amount of work for the German team throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did build up the team significantly. And like, I don't know when it was, like maybe in March, April, maybe even May, we sat together as a team and we realized the workload that is being put on Lim, being both a judge and a captain, is causing conflicts and it's messing up with personal life, effectively. So we looked for options how we as a team, and we are not only considering our 8 players as a team, but the wider group, can help and support him. And getting things on track, getting the parity straight, but also to support the team the best. I did apply for a player spot. I didn't get it, which is absolutely fair and fine. We have a very strong team. And in the end, I opted to take over the position of the babysitter of the team and to be the captain. Keep stuff together, get it organized, get them all motivated on the table. And so it was the team also asked me to do it. I didn't apply for it. I was asked by multiple members of the team, could you be the captain for us?
Okay, that is a quite uncommon origin story, I would say, because our viewers probably don't know it yet. But I'm in the middle of recording of an episode with our newcomers, for example. So Cyprus, New Zealand, this is already recorded, and then Republic of South Africa and Israel are on the way. But Cyprus and New Zealand are very much in line with all the previous teams that we have discussed this with, and every single team, I think, said that somebody volunteered for the spot because it's not a very popular thing to do, and you have to search for an actual captain. Here, the team actually asked you to be the captain. So, what's so amazing about you, if I may ask? What are your qualifications, in other words?
Just ask somebody that question. Why are you good at what you do?
I mean, I want to know. I think our listeners also want to know. Like, what makes you said strong players, on the national team turn to you for that job? And we know it's a job that not many people really want to do. So
Yeah, it's a
why?
job of you're not really getting much out of it back. It seems like, but
Yeah.
the thankfulness of the team has to be your reward and being there. I mean, I don't care if I play or just hang out with the guys and have a great week or great months. It's a hobby which I enjoy to do, and that's awesome. I think I have quite a unique background in terms of tabletop. So I played various tabletops. I played various world championships in different tabletops. So I did win a War Machine World Championship, finished second, win Guild Ball Championship, finished third in Malifaux. So I do have a quite strong tabletop background, even if it's not 40K only. I came over to 40K, I guess, 2.5 years only ago, like in COVID and all this stuff. And therefore I had like a strong tabletop skill set from the start, but bringing in new thinking methods from other games, which were not in 40K. And one of my biggest advantages is I've achieved a lot in the hobby, which makes me see things a bit easier. So if I go to a tournament, I just love to compete. But if I lose and I learn something, it's great. I have a great experience, a great time, and a great game, which lets me see the game a bit easier in some aspects, which is helping to build groups of friends, to connect with them. In addition, I don't have any heritage or any team I'm joined in, like you have local gaming clubs and whatnot. So I can unite all the nations, all the parts throughout Germany, because you have distinct groups. Like you have a group which is more from Eastern Germany and a group from Northern Germany, and there's always like a rivalry between clubs a bit, which is fair and I think is healthy. But I'm completely separate from that, so I can be absolutely independent and just watch from a step back to guide and unite the team.
Yeah, like an unaffiliated outsider almost.
Yeah, great. But still, I get along good with everyone. As I enjoy the hobby, as to say, I enjoy highly competitive gaming. I've always been competitive in everything that I did in my life, effectively. So I think the basis and foundation is there. That's effectively why they asked me to do it.
So I must say, an impressive curriculum vitae. But again, we're making this sound like a job interview almost. So Nathan, help. Ask a question.
So when we're talking about the German team, what is kind of the selection process, and how do you go about choosing members for the German WTC team?
I think we have a pretty established process. So anybody who wants can apply for being a member of the team. We have a ranking system in Germany where we score every single game of members of the German nation, and they get like a ELO ranking, like in chess. The top 2 players from that system are elevated to the triumvirate, as we call it, if they want to. If not, it goes to the next position and so on. And these 2, together with the captain of the last year, will pick players into the team. And every player that is picked into the team gets a vote in who is picked next as well. So effectively, you get a lot of applications, and by bringing in the knowledge from the strongest player just from a result, and by bringing in more and more players, you build a team that not only works from 8 individuals, like this perspective, but it's like a group of friends. And we always put a high emphasis on the social aspect as well. So it's not helping if you have somebody who either clashes within the team or outside of the team, because I think integrity is essential. Even if it's the most competitive event in the year, there's no room for being an asshole. It's not acceptable at all. And therefore, we are picking very carefully which players we want to have, and the team gets their vote on it as well. So effectively, it's the strongest player picking, and then the team grows, and you have more and more votes in it.
And so you said integrity. Was there any other defining characteristic that you were looking for? Like, and you mentioned the social aspect of being a good teammate. What's kind of the third common thread among all of the players that you selected for the WTC team this year?
I think there are multiple. Of course, you have to be a good player, but that is a given for any nation. This year, we looked especially for adaptability. With the release of the 10th edition being so close to the WTC, we tried to avoid players who are good on, for example, Orcs, because they played Orcs for 10 years and nothing else, because it was unsure what we are getting from the indexes and codices and rules. So we tried to find players who can adapt quickly, but you also need to have like resilience to stress, and you also need to be, might sound stupid, but physically capable of taking the pressure and the games in a day. So it's not helping if I have a good player, but he's tired after 2 games and doesn't give me the results anymore. So I think it's a variety of things, but if you ask for the third aspect, it's adaptability to new factions and new rules.
Sure.
We were pretty sure that we cannot solely rely on number of practice games this year. There were no meta lists out. You didn't know what to expect, and you don't know it yet. I mean, it's a lot of guessing in the stars, so you will have to adapt and bring your A game on the situation that you see there.
So you mentioned it's not just practice, but something else beyond that. What's kind of the thing beyond practice games that Team Germany is doing into the event?
So we did do some boot camps already. We're having, of course, as every other nation, I guess, meetings. We're having like, I don't know how many Excel sheets and Miro boards online on how to prep for what we see. It's a lot of change. It's a lot of also socializing together. Get to know you. You have to rely and trust your teammates on the event. It's essential that because mistakes can happen and will happen. It's a normal tournament, but you need somebody to pick you up, and good friends will pick you up and give 10% extra if they know you're in a bad spot. And so it's really growing together as a team. It's not 8 individuals. And then, as said, it's playing games, having both online and virtual bootcamps, and bootcamps like in a house or gaming club. Just grow the team together, get the games in, get list discussions in, identify potential spam list or threats.
I guess if you're testing people's adaptability and responses to stress, Ruud from Team Netherlands proposed this method for practice.
Oh yeah, Nathan is in love with that.
That I love just because I think it's funny. So for practice, do you walk around and wait for like key moments and then tell them how they're going to go? So Ruud said he'll walk over when people are doing any kind of role or activity for it and be like, you fail that, or you pass that, or you only get like 3 of those to work, but not the 4th one. Are you going around and testing your players' like ability to adapt to stress in that way, or are you just letting them kind of play a normal game? And
so we let them play a normal game, but we carefully watch it as well. Like on average, if you play enough in a game, something will go terribly off, and then you need to coach them how to keep their patience, how to keep their things together. What we did for adaptability was we played, I don't know how many scrims against other nations and internally, and we did put players on a new faction with 1 week to prep before the game.
Oh, I like this method
this
too.
faction, you can have 1 week to design a list, and then you're playing the scrim. It was not about the result, but it was to see how fast you can learn and how fast you can adapt to the faction that you were picked to play. And sometimes we also did put players on factions that have a complete opposite playstyle. Like to put a Necron player on Harlequins is different.
Did you do that to any of your players? Did you pick somebody who plays Orcs and like now you're playing Custodes?
I can't recall that, to be honest. It was so many games. but probably yes. So I myself also, I played, I don't know, AdMax, Space Wolves, and probably 3 other factions throughout that.
Just bouncing around.
I mean,
Bouncing around the adaptability.
it's really cool. And I recall there used to be I don't think we do this still, but there used to be a tradition in Poland that once a year there was a tournament. I think it somewhere in the middle of the year there was a tournament which basically, like, the twist of that tournament was that there was like something like a switcheroo. So you came to the tournament with your list, and then you would meet your opponent at the table. You would exchange lists, and you had to play a game with his army. And then when you were done, you switched the lists back, and you played with your own army, or maybe the other way around.
Yeah.
But it was like a 1,000-point tournament or something, so because time constraints. But I think it was amazing for anyone who attended the tournament to actually learn the other faction, learn the rules, learn the ins and outs of the
We
army.
did that at one of our boot camps. So we did
okay.
make a fun game. We played 2 versus 2, so nothing too serious. But
Mm-hmm.
every single one did write a list of some points, and then they were like shuffled. And you got a random army. You could get your own, but you could get something completely wild.
That's really cool.
And then it's just to see that you understand the core mechanics of the game.
Mm-hmm.
The adaptability that you were talking about.
Yeah, in the end, it's just model rules that you have to apply to a game plan. And it doesn't matter which faction you play. Of course, the execution should be slightly different, but you need to have a plan. And as long as you have that, it's good.
So now the hardest question. Who are your playing staff and non-playing staff?
From the top of your head.
From the top of your head. You're not allowed to look at any lists. No, I'm kidding. You can look at a list. It's fine.
I don't need to, I guess. So we have 8 players, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Matthias, Manuel, Adrian, Micha, Valentin, Arne, Grisha, and did I say Manu?
It's
always the 8th, right?
It's always the 8th.
Let me check.
All I'm going to tell
Flojo.
everybody is that you...
Yeah,
what was that?
Flojo. Florian, Flojo. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So it's a mix of experienced players from last year, years before, and new players. So I think it's essential to bring new players in, because otherwise you will starve out of good players over a long time. But in last year's team, we had, for example, Manu, Matthias, Micha, and Flojo. They were all on last year's team. Arne played for Team Belgium last year, even though he lives in Berlin. So he's a German potato by heart, but he opted to play for the enemy. Adrian was the coach last year for us, now playing. And Grisha and Valentin, they just played excellent this year. Young and highly motivated, and so we brought them onto the team. We exchanged some of the older players because, for various reasons, it can be performance, it can be that they didn't even apply, it can be that they're solely specialized on one faction. And so we are the 8, and we have 4 supporting staff. Me as a captain. We have David Desred as a coach as well. I don't know if it's 7th WTC or so. So, long time in the game. The mastermind behind list composition and pairing and everything. And we have Daria, who's basically assisting, travel planning, taking off load of the players, bringing them something to drink and to eat. And we have a private chef with us. Not that we bought a chef, but it's just one of our community members was like, I would like to support you. I'm a chef.
I make sure nobody poisons your food and stuff.
We can make sure the team is well and healthy. So it's a good mix of people supporting and coaching, I guess.
Yeah, it's impressive.
It's a smaller group than some nations. So like we're not coming with 8 or 10 guys like Team US, but that's okay.
Oh man, I just lost my train of thought completely. Dang it. I like how fast that you were able to answer that question. You were by far the fastest person to get to your 8th person.
German
So,
efficiency.
so you do not, in fact, owe your 8th person a beer, although you can get them a beer anyways.
Probably I do. I owe them all. That's good. It's names are challenging. Sometimes it is, but that's okay. And in the end, these 8 are amazing. They're doing a great job, and I don't know. I see them probably when I have my lunch break. They are playing a game on TTS.
That's some strong dedication, I won't lie.
Yeah,
it is.
So this is a question I like to ask as somebody who doesn't do a lot of WTC, and because people who are watching these are probably relatively new to WTC, is if somebody wanted to get involved with Team Germany, what's kind of the process that they should follow for kind of getting involved and maybe becoming a member for future WTCs?
Very simple. Ask one of the players, captains, team members from the past. We have it all. So the German community is organized on a Discord server from Target Priority.
Yep.
So it's well
I'm
known.
there.
Yeah. And we also have a sub channel like for this is the Team Germany 40K thing. And you have like a server link there, but you can also just ask somebody, just give them a short message and put yourself on the radar. And then you're getting to a second Discord, which is solely for the German WTC team. There's a public area and there's a closed area. And you can just apply to be a player there. And I highly recommend everybody who wants to be a player just to talk to the players we have on the team. They are all super friendly and open. And to just apply. And then you will be, I will not call it inner circle, but you're having a lot of access to strong players which looking for practice games and so, and you learn and learn because high competition games are always good for your improvement. And if you apply for a spot on the team, you will be watched on tournaments, you will be watched on online games you do. It's not like you did move that miniature not perfect, so you are out. It's just to get a general impression. And after all, it's like for all nations, go to tournaments, play good, connect, exchange thoughts, and just be an active, well-playing part of the community, and you have a good shot at becoming a team member. Even though I have to admit competition is quite strong in the team and for the spots. I think Germany is traditionally a strong nation at the WTC.
Yep. Oh boy. I'm just going to lead right into the first hard question, just right into it, Dominik, just right there. And Tomek will get to ask a question after this, I promise all of our listeners. I feel like I'm asking all of the questions while Tomek just sits there watching you do it.
I see you're having fun. Who am I to interrupt?
Yes, but we will let Dominik do the next question after this one.
Fine.
So you can read this question from chat if you want. It's just
go
there.
Go on. It's yours.
Oh, okay. So Germany has historically been the second best performing team by placement, although arguably the best since it's really just down to 1 7th place placement for Team Germany, and has won the most WTCs of any other national team. The first part of the question is, what does the pressure look like for the German team, especially since there's only been 1 podium since 2017?
I think, to be honest, there's no pressure. Why should there be? It's not. We don't have a team of semi-professional players who rely on good tournament results to put out coachings or whatever. The pressure is super high on these guys. We are a group of guys who just love playing tabletop on a highly competitive level. We have a strong plan, and I will be bold and cocky enough to say we want to win this thing. But we are also very much aware that you need to have the right portion of luck, be pairing, or as you said, the right 4+ has to happen at one point. That's normal to big tournaments, but I think the pressure on other nations is significantly higher this year, and I will make sure to shit talk them into it before every game. I think we did placed reasonably well last year for what we had as a team and ambitions. So we have a good foundation, but we can only win. It's not like we have something to show and demonstrate because we were first spot for the last 3 years in a row. Not like that. History is history. The guys who did win the WTC back then, they also got older, like all of us. It's a new generation of players, which also is reflected by us having so many new players on the team. I think we are, as said, strong enough to take this, but there's no pressure on the team, and that's a great spot you can operate out of. Be cocky enough to win it, but free enough to
make mistakes.
Yeah, that's good.
So is that the difference in comparison to the previous year? Because I especially caught on this what you said about lack of, let's call them professional players. I think last year you had a bunch of players from like Breaking Heads and so on who actually were coaches. Has that changed this year? Because I thought that some of the guys actually
we have some players who coach. We have some players who do YouTube and do their material and stuff, but they all have real jobs. They do it on top of what they like to do. So it's not like they can't pay their bills if they don't finish WTC.
I know who he's targeting. But I think you should have your players walk up to every Art of War team member, except Anthony, who does have a primary job, and say, so I'm going to cost you 5 coaching clients today, just before every game.
I will up it to 50.
Oh, there you go. I like it. I like that confidence. That's the kind of confidence I want to see.
Yeah, I wanted to say I'm loving everything I've heard so far, and I don't know what it is about you. You sound like you've been the captain of the team for 10 years at least. Like like
maybe
it's natural for you. So we started talking about the community, and I think Nathan's question also pertains to this. Like, not the pressure that you feel, but is there any sort of expectation from the community? So the target priority Discord, the guys hungry for success. And do you think that, do you somehow feel this perhaps on your back, like heavy breathing on your back or something?
No, I mean, we as a team are hungry for success. The nation is hungry for success, but they are not hungry for success in a toxic way.
At all costs, yeah.
It's more supportive. Like, can I help you here? Can I help you there? Can I give you practice games? Do you need these models or whatever? So it's like really supportive. It's they all try to push the team to their best skill sets and to take weight off their back. But they are not like, I'm not your friend anymore if you don't win this.
Right.
So it's we are eager and we are ballsy enough to take this very serious. But it's a supportive nation this year. It's a great community, and I think a lot of this results from the work that former captains did, that YouTubers did. Target Priority, for example, to create a huge platform for this community to bring them all together, and it's really a huge bunch of nerds with the same hobby and the same interest. It's not, of course, there are bad feelings if you don't make the team, but even these guys are supporting us and rooting for it, and there for practice games, sharing insights, and I think this is essential.
Yeah, but there's a lot for other nations, other communities, especially the smaller ones, to learn from that, I think. Also, I need to ask, because I see a certain similarity. I think your country is the closest to the, I'll call it the English model, out of lack of a better expression, where the English players are grouped into teams. I did mention that in one of the previous episodes. So, Team Hive Mind, hi Team Hive Mind, I know you're listening, and then Team Fireside, or Team Ignite. Sorry, they're called Ignite now. Mind Goblins, other teams. You have the same in your country, right? I'm actually looking at the ranking, and you have Pathfinders Dortmund, Pro Dicer, Team Firebug, Kings of the Hill. and many, 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 many more. Does that somehow contribute to the team building exercise that you're doing before the WTC, or is it just something used for local competitions and doesn't really tie in with the national team in any way?
So it's more of a bunch of friends organize themselves in a town.
Okay.
There are some a bit bigger, like Kings of the Hill, Breaking Head. They're a bit bigger, like Breaking the Regions. But it does not contribute. It doesn't matter which team you're in, if you're on the team or not. So it's not like if you're playing for the FC Bayern Munich of Warhammer 40k, you will be. That's nonsense.
No privilege.
No, and there should not be, because it's a group of. We are forming a new team, which is breaking boundaries. I will be very honest. These teams or clubs, as we call them, are probably even a bit counterproductive in forming a Team Germany, because you have a bunch of friends locally, which you root for them, you're strongly connected with them, you see strengths in them that maybe others don't see. So you want your friends to be on the team as well. So this can be a bit counterproductive. And I think that's where a lot of discussions also come from. But it doesn't matter. In the end, I don't know it from the English guys, but maybe on Team Hivemind you have 4 of the strongest players, so they will be in, no matter if they're Hivemind A, B, and C, or if they have a different name. As long as you can keep that neutrality to the team names. And as I said, I'm not on any of these teams, so I don't care. I just want the strongest 8 players on my team for this event. I think it's fair, even if it's a tough decision on everybody. It's like, yeah, you can go, but your friend can't. And sometimes you have to explain it to them, and that's the job of a captain. Say no in the hard times, but be fair to the people and keep them engaged, because we need them as a team. As every team, you need your strongest, 20 players in the nation to bring the A game to make your top 8 better. I don't know, I will not jinx it, but I've seen WTCs and other systems where people got sick a week before the event. You need strong players which are engaged and ready to step up if they really need it, and do the services. And that's also one thing I'm demanding from every player that was in the larger group, that no matter if they are picked or not, engage, invest into the team. You're not out of it because you were not selected as one of the top players. It's okay. I think it's super important.
So while we are still talking about the community in Germany, I think it's not very known outside of Germany. Like what I think, if you ask a potential typical Warhammer 40k enjoyer outside of Germany what they know about Germany, it would be that they have turned into some sort of like trend-setting rebels that are now dictating the rules to GW. Like, we're not allowing this at our tournaments, and this explodes and goes viral, and the internet talks about your tournaments and your rule makers and so on. And what has Germany done again? Who have they banned this time? Like Votan, Eldar, who's next? So essentially that's what Germany is now associated with, I guess. What is going on with that?
Right to the spot of pain, I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess we have to start with the hard questions at some point.
I think what I also want to clearly express is not the whole of Germany, and especially separate Team Germany from it, because also
don't say that, because I defended you, like in our local chat in the north part of Poland. Some people were saying like, oh, how can the German referees do that? Like, it's so random. And I was like, no, it's a group of people who do this together. They are adults. They are good referees. They know what they're doing. And now you're giving me something opposite.
No. That's not what I meant.
Okay.
I think the team is completely up to play the rules as is, because that's the rules for the and we're not arguing about this. I think what is really high in Germany is the passion and commitment to the game and the hobby that we invested in.
Mm-hmm.
And people are super eager to make it the best game possible. So I think when the Germans saw like that Wotan was not working, it was not healthy for the game, they said, hey, we want to have good times when we go on a tournament and not play a bullshit game where I can leave after 20 minutes and drink a beer.
Mm-hmm.
So we are just sitting together with a group of tournament organizers and saying what's the best call for the community as a whole. And that happened to Elder as well. Mainly driven from passion. It's not based on not trusting any other instance to fix the game or fix the rule, or not saying that the game needs to be perfect. It's just taking your own destiny in your own hands. And I completely get that. I mean, if you're organizing a tournament and if you allow only knobs in every army, then that's also perfectly fine. That's few who attend.
But don't you think that this has now somehow organically, not by like design, but organically turned into a tool of like pressurizing GW to actually implement changes quickly?
Yeah, and I think this is problematic, to be very fair, because it should not be used as a tool to pressurize. If you disagree with certain rules for your tournament, who am I to tell you to not do it? If you're saying, yeah, we're not playing 40 mil markers, but we're playing 120 millimeters markers for mission, okay, your tournament, you can do whatever you want. I think the problematic point, and where the internet is not helping, is that things are taken out of context. So, for example, the thing that was happening at the start of TENS was not meant to pressurize GW from the guys who released it, even though in the internet it's known as a pressure to GW to change stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this happens so quickly by content creators and group chats everywhere, and people just reading the headline and saying, oh my god, they blew up the world, and they're threatening GW to buy them if they don't cooperate effectively. That's nonsense, I think. And it's also causing a hard time for the people who introduce these amendments for their tournaments, because they are effectively also chased down by other guys. Whereas then like, yeah, who are you? Do you feel like God to change the game? I think it's fair that people do these things out of passion because they want their best time and the best experience to their weekends and games, and they don't want it to be ruined by 2 Wrath Knights shooting your army dead in turn 1, and that's fair. But I think that's why I was also so keen in saying it's not what we really support on the high level as the Team Germany. It's never meant to be a pressure to GW. It's a tricky thing that escalated too quickly in the terms of internet, I would say.
Yeah, the internet does that. It do be like that.
Yeah.
And I have a fun piggybacking question just to continue this attack. So Germany, even with its historic WTC performance, seems to be kind of a little bit unknown as like a powerhouse of gaming in like the greater community, at least from the American lens, which is the only lens that I can view the planet from, unfortunately. And a lot of people outside probably of mainland Europe only really look to like Australia, the UK, and the United States as being like the drivers of the meta, while Germany kind of sits off to the side, even though it like does really well competitively, right? Why do you think that is? And actually, as a second kind of part to that, do you think it helps at the WTC that you can come in like just with your lists a little less observed?
Yeah, so good question. I think why US, UK, and Australia are more represented and more known is that it's just the nature of habit to speak in your language in public forums. You could not read a German forum and post it somewhere. We have content creators who do content in German. The nation and the world will not care about it. which is fine and accepted. I think this is a natural barrier, but it's not stopping us. I mean, some of our players went to Adapticon and went second, for example. So they proved that the US meta is soft, to bring that up.
I love it.
And they also won the team tournament there. So I think the player strength is absolutely there. It's just not. We are more connected on an individual level. And it helps and it harms you a bit. If you're under the radar a bit, you can design your tech and you can bring your list, which people probably will not expect. And spoiler, we did that. But it also your lack of insight. So it's like a two-sided sword with pros and cons to it. I see more pros with the current days of the internet, where lists are no longer a secret and tech is not a secret. And it's not harming us to not shout it out every Tuesday on the live stream what we are playing, we are thinking.
I feel targeted.
I think it's an advantage, to be honest, because it gives you a certain level of unpredictability. Of course, some things are set in the current meta of what you will expect, but some are absolutely not. And I think it's a huge advantage, and we are getting more and more connected, to be also fair. The younger players are way better connected in terms of like the older players, which is also, I think, just a generation change. They travel more. Typically, German players never had to travel that much because we are big enough of a country to have high enough competition in big tournaments. So there was not the distinct urge to leave the country unless you wanted to like go to London GT or I don't know. Because we easily do like 200 persons tournament in Germany.
Yeah, so that actually ties in with my next question that I wanted to ask, which is, you said, I guess multiple times now, that you have a very strong team, and I wanted to ask, like, what is the let's call it like a litmus test for that? So how do you know? Because if you focus just on the internal scene in your country, I mean, you obviously can get that impression that you're strong, but then do you have any sort of comparison with other nations by virtue, for example, of going to their tournaments and competing with them?
We very often have like the closer European players over to our tournaments, and we know that for sure. We are well connected, playing TTS games, scrims against other nations, so you see the skills of our players there. And players of ours that travel and beat everything in the US, probably not even the strongest on our team internally. So it gives you a good comparison of where you sit from a player skill set wise. And the players we have on the team from last year's WTC, for example, they exceeded expectations at last year already. So it is a strong foundation. And to also be fair, you see if somebody can hold his measurement tape properly and roll the dice and move the models properly very quickly if you have played a lot of tabletop. It is small details then, but you know what they are capable of. And the level we are talking about is like top 1% of players worldwide, I guess. It's not like we are selecting from somebody who can barely read his models and read the rules. It's really the top-notch competition, and I think results we get also in scrims are clearly indicating that it's a strong team.
So kind of bouncing off of this in a different direction to one of my other favorite questions. I want to know if you want to fire any shots at anybody. Do you want to declare a rival, a team that you're coming for at this year's WTC?
Yeah. How many would you like?
All of them. Ooh, I love this. All of the teams. I want you to trash talk every team in succession that you want to pick as the team that you want to take out.
So
We've got a feisty one.
I asked the team this before that because I will not solely speak on that. I kind of expected some trash talk here, which is good.
Go on.
Our
Bring it.
strong rival historically is Poland. So I will make sure to say kurwa 100 times in pairing to make it up for it. But the team we are rooting for is US. You guys came away pretty luckily last year.
Oh,
This year it's pants down, lose 100 coaching.
I
Yeah.
love it so far.
It's but it's all like friendly rivalry. I mean,
Oh, of course.
That's good, and I think this pretty much leads into if you want to win this thing, you have to beat everybody anyways.
It's true.
There will be strong nations like New Zealand, Israel, and whatnot, the new guns, but there will be I guess it's 5 top dogs this year, which you have to beat, and these are the historically strong tabletop nations, especially with the upcoming of tens. That really comes down to your skill sets of how often you play tabletop and how long and whatnot. And this is US, UK, Australia, Poland, and Germany. These 5 are, for me, the top contenders this year.
Wait, did you say England? I couldn't hear if you said England
Yes.
or not. Oh, you did. Okay.
US,
You
UK.
just didn't want to hear it.
I just didn't want to hear it because it's anyone but England. Yes, but are we also a fan of that hashtag in Germany? Is that what's going on?
I don't think so. The only hashtag we use is US Metasoft.
Yeah, so your feelings and emotions are directed somewhere completely different, I guess. Yeah.
It's like you have to beat them all, and we will do our best to beat them all, and we will beat them all. It's no question. I mean, there are always also strong contenders from the north of Europe. Every year you see some nations perform really good. All systems, and I think we are also down to earth enough to not underestimate any nation. It doesn't matter if you bring 5 famous names or 5 no names. Team Finland can beat you anytime as well. Who knows what they did design in their saunas while shooting in the air and drinking 5 liters of booze? It can completely mess everybody up.
Yeah. Ed Contact Lost is not doing interviews with them, so you'll never know. So I guess we usually start our podcast with this question, but this time we somehow left it to maybe not the very end, but like the second part of the interview. I guess when you took over the team as a captain, you must have spoken with Lim, you must have spoken with Fred, you must have done your best to draw conclusions from the last year and basically establish what didn't work. So if it's not a secret, what didn't work last year?
It's a good question. I think on some predictions we were a bit off with our concepts from lists. We changed these. I think it's always tough to say. We performed reasonably well last year. It's not like
Absolutely.
we went with 3 losses out of the tournament. So we did tie against the US and against Poland, I think. Yeah. So we lost to a top nation, tied another one. That's a very good result overall. I think what we saw is that even more practice is important. And also practice against concepts that you do not expect as a top meta list. Don't go in there and just play against the top dogs, but also consider constructs and options that could experience you. And I don't know, we got stomped by this Necron Destroyer list from Poland because we never did it. And I think we clearly changed our mindset to this aspect this year. And it's a lot of more, it feels a bit more professional this year, to be honest. We stepped up the game significantly. And it feels like running a project, to be honest.
It
definitely does.
But you do you do sound like a top contender at the same time. You do sound threatening, imposing, I would even say. Definitely
And confident.
Yes, so all that together, and definitely you do make it sound like you are a team that I mean, everyone knows that anyway, I think, but the team that definitely shouldn't be ignored. Like,
No,
I'm
and
scared about Poland, to be perfectly honest, when I listen to you. So, Nathan, you wanted to say something?
Oh no, I was gonna say that I'm gonna start asking bird questions soon.
Yeah, because I think you need to run soon, right? So we need to start slowly wrapping this up. Although this conversation is extremely intriguing. Go on.
we can do a second part after we won the WTC. No worries.
Well,
Oh,
definitely there are going to be follow-ups,
oh.
but yeah, the confidence is definitely there.
Before you go too far, though, I think if you're this confident, you need to talk to Anthony about getting in on the tattoo bet
Oh yeah,
before you get too far, Dominic. You need to talk to Anthony and see who's getting a flag or a team logo.
that's the
But
real test.
that's the real test of confidence. I will put you two in contact if you need it.
Yeah, let's reach out and talk.
Oh,
I've always,
excellent.
I've always wanted to have a tattoo of beating the US flag down.
That's great.
So,
That's great.
so what we're gonna do after this is you are gonna slide your Discord handle to Tomek, and I will take it and I'll connect the two of you.
I have it already, so you can count on me.
Excellent. All right. So the first bird related question.
He's just chuckling at his own question. Come on, Nathan.
I can't help that these are so dumb, and I can't believe that I do this. I'm not even this kind of scientist. So finally, for the countries, we have a country with a bird that we can actually put in conflict with another bird, basically. And so the question is, who wins, the Polish national bird, which is the federal eagle, or the white-tailed eagle, or the federal eagle, the German national bird, and the white-tailed eagle, which is the Polish national bird? Who wins in a fight?
That's no question, I guess, right?
Of course, I know the answer.
Yeah, German Eagle always will win.
Nah.
But
Wrong.
Tomek, I can make sure to bring you a dice with the German Eagle to remember.
Oh.
Okay, all right, accepted. And I'll bring some Polish dice as well, so we can exchange and then throw them at the table and see who rolls a 6, and that will be a good one. And then we will try to flush them in the toilet.
And then the follow-up question, because there's always a second stage to every boss, is who wins the the federal eagle or the bald eagle?
So Germany versus the States, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I guess since the US eagles are close to extinction in the natural habitat,
Nice take.
not
And
take
we lost
away
him.
200 coaching sessions, keep them in their natural habit, but also put them back to where they belong.
200 coaching sessions.
Yeah, they have nothing on the federal eagle, I guess.
All right, those are the bird-related questions today.
Yeah, those were good. Those were quality as always. At least we didn't have the question about the pigeon. So I guess we'll leave that for after the WTC to check. Dominik, I think Nathan and I, we are both out of questions because Nathan also needs to run to actually do some freaking job and not just chuckle with bird
I
questions.
mean, Nathan, you're not at risk with your job coming from the US, so it's
I mean, a little bit. I take these during the middle of work hours.
Huh. That's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Clearly, you're not too busy.
Between us.
Yeah, that's definitely what I would take from this Tomek, is that I won't be here till 8 o'clock tonight. That's the lesson.
Dominik, before we let you go, German scene, as we said, German scene is a little bit of an unknown to the broader community, either by choice or not. We are not here to judge, but if you wanted to point people to anything to make the scene a little bit more familiar to your average 40k enjoyer, where should people go? What should people check out? Is there anything specific that Germany does, either in English or in German, that people should check out?
I think the biggest checkpoint for the German community is target priority Discord. If you ever need any contact points, go there.
Right.
We have some big content creators who can also point you in the right direction. As said, Breaking Heads is big, King of the Hills is big, Golem Terror is big, Flat 3 Damage is big. So there are some big content creators. And it's a perfect chance to practice your German on their YouTube videos or put on subtitles. But
Absolutely.
I think the easiest way is to reach out to any of our players. They are all great guys helping you around. Target Priority Discord, perfect place to go to connect. And if you're from close to the border, France, Austria, Switzerland, Netherlands, Poland, Czech Republic, just come over to a tournament, build that interaction. And so like the Australian guys did this for some years to southern Germany, and I don't know how many Germans are now going to the Alpine Cup.
Mm-hmm.
We have these partnerships with them, and it's a lot of give and take, but it's building groups of friends at the end, and it works because we all share one passion, one hobby, and so I think. But if you ask me for one place, it's a Discord server.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone English speaking wants to find a TTS game, is that also a good place to look for potential opponents? Yeah.
Yeah, we have like a search for games for TTS channel on that Discord. Just post looking for a game speaking English. Some Germans will have a horrible accent, but they all are pretty good in English. Like
I can attest to that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so don't worry, just reach out, go on there and connect with them. I don't know how many games some of the guys even do. Whenever I check the Discord, they are online. And we have like, I think there are 12 tables set for games just in TTS on that Discord, and very often they are full. So
speaks
all
volumes.
12 of them. So it's well used, highly. It's not like you're waiting days for nothing, like sometimes minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really good.
Okay.
Also, just so you know, Dominik, I already talked to Anthony, and he's game. So now you're locked in. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, so that will be sorted out at the event. And I guess to close the episode, I will put the link to the Discord. I mean, I'll consult this with Dominik offline, but I'll if he allows me to, I will put the link to the
Absolutely.
Discord. All right, so it will go down into the description of this episode, so you can check it out over there. And while you do that, also make sure that you do leave a like, subscribe, and tell a friend that we exist and what we do, because it will help us grow, and then we can deliver some more, hopefully, quality content. Also, I haven't checked today in the afternoon, but like at noon, we had 599 subscribers. So if we hit 600, I think we will start a Patronite. I've been tinkering with that idea a little bit, and maybe that will happen. So help us make it happen. And then, some amazing content will be available thanks to that as well. So, make sure that you do all this and help us grow. Dominik, it's been a pleasure to have you. Again, the confidence is impressive, and let's see how it plays out at the event. But yeah, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. So thanks for being so
It's
open.
a pleasure. Thanks for having me. Are you at the event?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So catch you latest there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then hopefully, after the event, we can also do some summary and so on, like a summary episode of how it went.
Sure.
Perhaps as winners, as victors, we shall see. Fingers crossed. I have to be unbiased in this one. Nathan, also thanks to you as usual, quality, and it's a pleasure to host the episodes with you. So off you go. Do some real work now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.